everyone, it's Imelda here from 3 Scrappy Sisters, and I'm coming at you with another 12 by 12 process video. This layout I created using the Felicity Jane London kit, and I wanted to focus on some of the scraps that I had collecting in the kit. I still have a lot of the pattern paper left, but I wanted to focus, like I said, on the scraps because I know that a lot of people struggle with figuring out how to use their scraps. So my original idea was to use the branding strips and maybe some of the strips of paper, cutting paper into strips. But after I decided here that I wanted to cut my photos because I had thought that I was going to keep them all together, stacked up like the way that they were, but they're not all the same size. They look the same size only because they're black and white and some of them have some white space. But that didn't work, so I just decided that I was going to cut them, and I backed them onto white cardstock. So because they were separate, that kind of let me play around a little bit more, and so I tried a couple of different configurations, and in the end, after I had placed them this way, I got the idea that I wanted to do almost like a grid design, but have it be horizontal across the middle of the page. So you'll see here that I cut some of these scraps just down to size. I only trimmed them a little bit. And I am using some of the branding strips, not as many as I would have liked to, but still quite a bit. So I am just going to play around with the placement of all of these scraps just to make sure that I don't have too many repeating colors or patterns right next to each other. And this is really good too for if you have odd shaped scraps, like you see that blue polka dot paper on the bottom right. I really liked that paper and I really wanted to use it, but it wasn't fitting in a complete section. So I just put it off to the, like, not off to the side, but hanging off the paper because I knew I was going to trim it anyways. So I am just trying to figure out where I want everything and then also at the same time working on some layers. I do like the yellow that was included in this kit, but I am not a very yellow kind of person, which is weird because yellow was actually one of my colors for my wedding. It was yellow and pink. But I don't know, since then I've been one to almost shy away from yellow. I think I like the look of it. It's too bright for me. I don't use it very often in very many things. So anyhow, so like I said, I'm just layering. I'm using some of the sticker cut aparts as well as the chipboard pieces. I don't end up leaving those black and white chipboard pieces there. I just felt that they were too big for this section that I wanted to use, so they do go, but I'll have to use them in a different layout soon. So I'm just going to adhere everything, and I am just using my T-square ruler to make sure that everything is lined up. And I'm going to actually flip my page over that way. So everything looks upside down, but I just wanted to use my ruler to make sure that it's lined up again without having my face be, sorry, not my face, my head be in the way. So I am just adhering here. I am going to pop some of the photos on some foam just to give it a little bit of height and some difference between some of the layers and the pattern pieces. There's a lot, I feel like there's a lot going on with the different patterns and colors, so it's good to add some foam and some height to the pieces that you want to be the focus. So I'm just going to play around with the branding strips and some of the embellishments that I want to use. I do know that I do want to do some machine stitching. I had thought about doing machine stitching around some of these pattern pieces, if not all of them, but I only end up doing it on the branding strips. So that blue banner that says, "This makes me smile," I thought was perfect for these photos, but I didn't end up using it. It was just too large for what I wanted it for. These photos are pictures of my kids and my husband and I, and they're not all taken at the same time or the same event. They're probably within the span of a couple of months of each other, but I wanted to document these because these are all actually, none of these pictures are perfect. My husband doesn't like to take pictures, so he's rarely in any pictures, and any pictures that he is in, either he's making a silly face, or he's got his eyes closed, or he's looking in the wrong direction. And same with my kids. We can rarely get a photo together where one of us don't look angry or sad or in the wrong direction. So this is just the way that our family pictures turn out, and these are probably some of the best ones, so it's okay. So that basically is what my journaling says, which I'm going to work on here on my typewriter. It says, no matter how hard I try, our family photos, I can't remember off the top of my head. This is something like, our family photos always end up looking something like these. Either somebody is looking in the wrong direction, making a silly face, or is cut off by the camera. However, this is as close to perfection as we can get, and I like it. So the title ends up being, This is Our Perfect. So at this point here, I've already machine stitched the branding strips on the top and bottom, and I did ruffle up the edges a little bit, which you need to be careful when you're doing that, especially when you don't have a lot of space to fold up under it, because I tried to kind of tuck my fingers in under it and then run across it, and I gave myself a paper cut right in between my nail, basically, and my finger, so it hurt a little bit. So you just got to be careful with that. So I really liked this love with the speech bubble, but the speech bubble was just too large for this layout. So, and as you can see, I'm getting a little bit more comfortable in cutting up my embellishments. So I did just fussy cut that love, and I'm going to stick it on the banner. When I had laid out my journaling, it was pretty evenly split between the top and the bottom, but then when I glued it, I kind of squished them a little bit too close together, so I had a lot of space near the bottom. So I figured I'll just put it on this blue banner, and then I just added the love on top, which I thought went really well. So I'm just going to use my Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher and refill the staples, and I'm just going to staple in kind of like an X. I wanted to try something different. I don't necessarily do that very often. And this is pretty much the layout. I am just going to add a couple more layers here and there, and some Heidi Swap ink splatters, some Heidi Swap Color Shine in black. I'm gonna play around with these, but they don't make it. So the thing with the Color Shine in the black that I used was I went to dot on a bigger splatter and my hand kind of slipped, so I ended up making a little bit of a splatter with like a line connected to it. So at that point I was getting a little frustrated with the Color Shine. I tried to make it work, and then I did make it work. I covered it with an enamel dot, and then I realized that I had some ink splatters to the top right where I didn't want them. Oh, before I get to that, these are some Heidi Swap sticker words. They came in a little package of, I guess they're journaling cards or Project Life cards. I used them in the layout where I created, it was the 4 photos with the gold frames around them. It's the same package. I got them at Michael's. I don't even know what collection they're from. They are Heidi Swap. Excuse me. So I am just using some enamel dots here, and these are just from my stash. Most of them are from Michael's. Some of them are El Studio, some of these tiny ones that I actually forgot that I even had, which I was really happy to find. So I'm adding these here, and then I go and add the color shine and I mess it up. So I was getting frustrated, and it was perfect up until then. So what I did actually was, because this is all just focused on the center, and the center was fine, I just cut the top and the bottom parts of the white paper, and I just adhered it to another, see, that's where I did the line. So I just adhered it to another piece of white paper, and you can't even tell. So that's okay. There's always a way to fix it. So that's all right. So you'll see a couple of stills at the end, and that's it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope I didn't ramble too much. Thank you to all of our new subscribers, and we hope to see you next time. Thanks a lot and have a good day. Bye.